Sort of similar. What do you think? So, does anybody here ever work with lunatics? Crazy? Yes, you.
Yes.
So lunatics. Let's talk about crazy people. Is it safe to say that well, what are some of the characteristics of your clients who are lunatics? Well, let's hear. Are they rich? Some of them tend to be. Are they obnoxious? Yes. What else? Are they demanding? Who said demanding? Absolutely. Do they have patience? No. No patience. Do they have egos?
Yes.
Are they entitled?
Yes.
Do they juggle things and expect you to pick up the ball?
Always.
Are they arrogant?
Yes.
Are they eccentric?
Yes.
Okay, so we deal with the same clientele. So I want to tell you a story. I just closed a deal. It was a loft downtown where I was warned when I was introduced to this client that she was crazy. My referral source said, beware, she's crazy. Fine. So I went on my listing presentation. It was at 5:30 in the afternoon, rang the doorbell. She was in her nightgown. That's how it started. It wasn't a negligee. It was a nightgown. And yes, she was crazy. This was, she said, you know, it was a divorce situation. She was moving out. She was moving to Florida. Now, when you live in New York, if you don't drive, that's one thing. She moved to Florida, didn't drive. Makes you sort of scratch your head. It's a problem. It was a problem when we had contracts that needed to be signed. It was a problem because she couldn't get anywhere. She didn't have a printer. It was a nightmare. We signed the listing. I spoke to her ex-husband, who was bi-coastal. He spent a lot of time in LA. He was in advertising and did the commercial for, I guess it's AT&T, where the phone was on the table and there was a tarantula on it and somebody killed the phone. Does everybody remember? He had a sense of humor, which he needed, being married to this woman. So the next time I knew that I had a problem here, well, never mind staging, where she was in Florida and she wanted the tree moved different places. But I got a call from somebody on an internet ad, and he wanted to know what floor the apartment was on. And I told him, and he said, I'm not interested, thank you very much. And I said, hold on, why not? It was a high floor, it had views. He said, because I used to live on that floor, and I know who your owner is, and I want nothing to do with it. We finally closed. This is a story that goes past closing. We closed about three or 4 weeks ago, and the morning of closing, she calls and says, I need for you to get my family heirloom doorknobs that are on the front entry closet. It opened this way, that there were starbursts, and so I can't use a screwdriver, so I had Jim, I knew Elizabeth. I said, Jim, you got to go and get the doorknobs. Well, the problem with the doorknobs was they were huge, and so they had big holes. And so Jim had to go back 3 or 4 times to get the doorknobs, and Home Depot, and this was a project. So finally, we sent her the doorknobs, and I sent her a bill. I figured, you know, I paid $40 for overnight mailing and insuring, and I paid some money. I thought that was the least I could do was get my money back. She called me and said, the doorknobs are ruined. Somebody polished them and took off the luster. I don't want them anymore. They're useless to me. So I thought long and hard about how I would reply to this, and I decided that I wasn't going to let sleeping dogs lie. I was afraid to be confrontational because I don't want to write a bad review, God heaven forbid, on one of the websites. So I emailed her and I said, don't shoot the messenger. All I did was return the doorknobs. They were in the condition that I found them. If you don't want them, they're beautiful. Jim would love them. Send them back. Alternatively, if you don't want to send them back, by all means keep them. Just refund the money that we outlaid. And I haven't heard from her since, and we'll see what happens. But I think that to be a successful agent in New York, you need to be able to deal with lunatics. Would you agree that that's consistent? Okay. Next, be prepared for the unknown. Be cerebral. Think ahead. In our business, stuff happens. No matter how prepared you are, things happen. My favorite New York story, and Lee said, well, what's it like doing business in New York? What's it like dealing with co-op boards?
Yeah.
So I'm working with a buyer who has two little dogs, and we let the listing agent know two little dogs. Two little dogs are written into the contract. Contract is signed and countersigned. And I get a board package, and it says 1 dog per apartment. Now, combined, these dogs don't weigh what one normal dog weighs. And I'm saying, no poodle is getting between me and my commission. So, what do? Well, I called the building manager, and I said, we have a problem here. First, I went to the listing agent. I said, how could you do this? He said, well, apparently there are new rules. It used to be unlimited dogs. Now it's 1 dog. So I called the building manager, and he said, maybe you should speak to the president of the co-op board. So I spoke to the president of the co-op board. I explained that they're little, and she's an old lady and an empty nester moving to New York to be with her kids. She can't get rid of her dogs. He said, all right, we'll interview the dogs.